Hello everyone, I all hope you had a very much quite have a wonderful day and also very much quite have a blessed day indeed, guys. Well, as you can see, guys, today is quietly cold, as in literally superly quietly cold. I actually saw the mist when I quietly woke up as well. I don't know exactly how the weather looks on your guys' side, but either way, guys, I all hope you're quietly dressed warm, and also quietly I hope that you're quietly dressed warm and also quietly very much quietly safer as well. But despite the coldness, guys, the weather is quietly beautiful. I love always watching Mother Nature blossom and quietly revealing her true power and her true beauty as well. It's so beautiful and it's so astonishing and very quietly greatly extraordinary as well. Oh, one more thing, guys. The gardening people are actually here today, so they might be making a lot more noise in the background. And my dog or my child, known as Universe, is exactly inside the house with me. So you might see my other hand going down just to show you that Universe is quite inside the house with me. Oh, one more thing. I'll be able to upload tomorrow's video in the long YouTube video for those of you who are actually watching the long no, for those of you who are actually quietly still actually watching the YouTube channel. I won't be able to upload the Friday's episode in YouTube, but I'll be able to upload the shorts for those of you who are actually watching shorts on Friday. And for those of you who are actually watching TikTok, you'll receive the TikTok video as well. But on today's episode, guys, it's about the Growler King. So let's get onto it. Oh, one more thing. Very grateful for your guys' support in sticking with me, and also for those of you who are following me, and for those of you subscribing. Your support means a lot to me. Please continue to subscribing and liking to my channel below y'all, and you'll find it on TikTok or on YouTube, which is completely up to you. But regardless of the lights, guys, have a blessed day, and I'm truly grateful for your guys' support. Stay safe and stay happy, and I'm also rooting out for you as well. And I'm also reading out for you guys as well, just for you guys to know that as well. So keep pushing and keep going and stay happy and stay positive and stay true to yourself and have a blessed week and a great day indeed. So on today's episode, we're to speak about the mighty Growler King, who is a very ancient, powerful ancestor, a very powerful ancestral king to the Growler, to the actual Growler clan of the Four Nation Hunter families who have been part of the alliance for centuries and for many centuries to come. The Growler King and the Growler Queen I actually mentioned in the YouTube channel. You'll find out about their history in the other episodes in YouTube. If you don't exactly know what I'm talking about, for those of you in TikTok, you'll look it up in YouTube, which is called Biloyo, then you'll be able to find it there. Let's get onto it. The Growler King is a very powerful ancient ancestry king of the growler clan of the Four Nation Hunter clan that's been heavily been mentioned throughout the entire sacred world and throughout the entire sacred world history, and especially within Four Nation Hunter history. The Growler clan is the most powerful, notable clan of Four Nation Hunters who have been given the extraordinary greatest ability of all powers, the power of absorption and the power of extraction, which the power of redirecting energy and the power of absorbing energy itself. Many few greater descendants, many few greater descendants of the Growler clan of the Fornish Hunter family still live, still quietly, still quietly actively alive within the sacred world's present day as well, who some members of the descendants of the Growler clan have become members of the Universal Heroes, and some have become allies, and others have become super villains and powerful ancient super menaces and adversaries and deadly obstacles of the Universal Heroes as well, and as well as a greater arch enemies as well in the process. Despite that, some of the other Growler descendants have been rumored to be dead or either destroyed due to the destruction of the entire crystal dimension of their home worlds after the great ancestral of the Growler King was quietly rumored to have died. It was quietly rumored to have died, and also with the Growler Queen as well as quietly rumored to have died, and also never quietly actually to be shown that they were actually still alive or heavily still quietly alive during the present day of the sacred worlds conflict and wars within the and wars within quietly within the process of sacred within the process of the sacred within the process of the sacred within the process of the sacred wars, future wars and conflicts as well. Regardless of the less, the Growler family, the Growler family of Phoenician hunters are quietly feared and revered for their great powers and abilities that is actually greater than the power and the ability of dark teleportation and of also opening portals as well, due to them being the closest descendants of the Growler King and Queen and of their greater former dark ancestral monk known as the Sacred Growler Founder, who is after all their greatest godlike ancestors to their kind as well. Despite that, the Growler clan is very powerful and very deadly Phoenician hunter family who have been living on a crystal-like dimension for many centuries before it was quietly destroyed during the ravages of sacred wars and conflicts in the process during the millennia ages before sacred society and all other sacred nations were ever born or quietly given its true purpose and name as well in the actual process. Despite that, the Growler King is rumored to be one of the most powerful kings within the entire Growler history of the Four Nation Hunter history, and it's rumored that he's ruthless and very powerful and very highly contempt with his action and his true missions to conquering worlds and planets and civilization. The Growler clan is a very particularly ancient clan and very formidable family members of the Four Nation Hunters who have been part of the ancient secret society of superheroes known as the Alliance that was quietly formed by the original Lord of Magic known as Laurel before he was ever known as the original Lord of Magic. So let's get on to it. In the great ancient centuries of the millennia before the mighty Growler clan and the great descendants were ever exactly known to and never existed, and some actually became super criminals, others became superheroes and joined forces with the universal heroes in the present day. They were quietly still highly actively alive during the great era when the mighty Growler King and the mighty Growler Queen still ruled the entire Growler Empire with a great iron fist, with them combining their expertise and their abilities as well during the great ancient years. Over within the great ancient years, the Growler King and the Growler Queen always exactly resided within the crystal, within a red beautiful crystal castle dimensional world, which houses many neighboring worlds and planets and systems and many cities and many great cities and villages that only show the true power and the true potential of the Growler clan's true abilities and powers as well. Despite that, the Growler King and the Growler King grew very quietly, highly sharing a very dangerous, deadly, Varys' ambition to conquering many known worlds and many known civilizations in a process so that the Growler clan can become the most prominent dark, supernatural family of Four Nation Hunters with the sole dominance of many known worlds and many known sister planets within the entire sacred star systems, so that before the era of the great sacred great nations were ever formed, there were only the great sacred clans of the sacred world within sacred society that were quietly still able to remaining alive. And enduring at that time, the Growler King wanted to expand his empire and the rest of his dominion and of his forces to become and remain the sole rulers of the entire sacred world and of the rest of sacred reality in the process. Due to that, his plans were quietly thwarted and they were quietly foiled due to the attempt of the Shadow Empire ancestors trying to wiping out the Growler clan in the process, realizing that they posed a greater significant threat to their plans and to their future goals in the process. The Growler King and the Growler Queen and the rest of the other Growler people of the Four Nation Hunters stood together and fought the most formidable vile threat in the entire history known as the Shadow Empire. The Shadow Empire battle cruisers and of their warships destroyed many of the great crystal cities within the Growler interdimensional worlds and planets of their own interdimensional crystal pocket dimension, wiping them out in a process. The Growler King and the Growler Queen were forced to use a very sinister ancient mythical sword known as the Crystal Sword, which bared the power of heavily crystal light energy, which in actual effect was able to destroy the magnificent city itself within its radars. By doing so, the city itself became highly destroyed, sabotaging and destroying every battle cruiser and every Shadow Empire battle cruisers within the process. And also the Growler King and Queen were quietly destroyed within a crumbling, and within the city's collapse, and within the entire interdimensional system of the Growler home world, and with their respective home worlds and cities being heavily destroyed within the great destruction of its own home sister worlds and planets as well, over the great destructive power that the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders actually possess due to their destructive technologies as well. Within the following centuries after the aftermath of the great collapse of the Great Crystal City, the Growler descendants began highly evolving and highly adapting to their powers and to their abilities. Some began disappearing throughout sacred history, others were joining forces into the Four-Nation Hunter Academy, and they all became particularly friends with the other Four-Nation Hunter families, such as the Hellfire, Starwood, Lightwood, the Starwood, Ferris, Unity, and also the Vestas, and also the Great Vestas, and also the Great Steel, Wood, and all the other relative family members of the Four-Nation Hunters as well in a process. Due to this, an unknown throughout sacred society, the Growler King and the Growler Queen was still highly actively alive during those primordial times, and they remained within the shadows as they watched as Laurel formed the alliance, and they stood utterly by and did nothing as they completely allowed sacred Four-Nation Hunter history to take its rightful place within sacred history, to allowing it to go accordingly the way it was meant to go according to plan as well. Without that being said, the Growler King and the Growler Queen still manages to manipulate many various wars and battles and conflicts within sacred history's wars, and during the sacred warring period times, where the sacred clans, before they were ever known as the great sacred nations of the great sacred world, they were still able to manipulating those events and those conflicts to their own uses, for them to actually benefit for themselves, so that they can actually grow more powerful and achieve and obtain unlimited power in the conflict. On the actual great 25th century, of the sacred warring clans period, the Growler King was able to appear from the shadows when he managed to manipulate the great leader of the great Smoke clan, where he literally confronted a sinister Four-Nation Hunter assassin and a killer, and actually promised him that he might find his place within sacred society and within the entire sacred universe, only if he is willing to join the organization. And in doing so, he will offer him protection and the organization services if he's willing to become part of the group's organization. And in doing so, he promised the most powerful, deadly Four-Nation Hunter, Cyril, supernatural criminal, that he will indeed find his place within the entire sacred universe, and he will know who he is in the end. By doing so, he only entrusted him with the organization's secrets and also with his true identity, as the Growler King revealed himself as he was quietly wrapped around in bandages, and in all of that, as he revealed his true face to the Four-Nation Hunter killer. The Four-Nation Hunter killer was very quietly skeptical of the mysterious shadowy figure, since he was the one manipulating the leader of the Smoke clan, and he decided to join forces with him, since the two of them share a common interest and a common goal as well. Over the following years and centuries, the Growler King remained within the shadows, and being a heavily founding member of the ancient criminal organization that was able to join forces with, in aiding it with its respective goals and mission, since he realizes that the organization itself will definitely actually help him benefit his future plans and his long-term plans in the process as well. Regardless of that, the Growler King also kept tabs on his descendants, since he was able to realize that some of his descendants had become members of the Alliance, that the original Lord of Magic was able to defect from the alliance itself, the one he quietly, very much quietly, the one he quietly very much formed quietly, very much quietly formed in many centuries, many centuries ago. He was able to defect from it, and that the remaining descendants were able to continue the organization's full purposes and its true mission, and that his descendants were still able to become part of it, as some of his descendants also began defecting from the group itself and also beginning to using their destructive powers for their own evil, useful reasons and for their dark reasons as well. Regardless of that, the Growler King still also kept tabs throughout the Sacred Great Nations civil wars and all the entire wars, and still manages to manipulating them and also manipulating their wars, and many powerful, prominent individuals throughout the great sacred nations wars and conflict, so that they could alter sacred history for his own benefit as well. Within the middle century, the Growler King was able to meet up with the ancient powerful sinister, with the ancient powerful founding leader who was known to be rumored to be dead, known as Sun Tzu, who was quietly in his elderly form, who was quietly hiding in a very, very sinister hideout, where he was able to exactly inform the Growler King that he needed to carry out his sinister plan and his goal for his own evolutionary change in order to adapt the ways and the circumstances for the goal to be highly completed. The Growler King was quietly skeptical of the mysterious elderly being who was quietly in his weakened state. Regardless of that, he quietly accepted his proposal to aid the great powerful founding legendary leader of the Orion clan in order to making sure that his goals will successfully bear fruit, and he decided it's best that he remains within the shadows to do so, while he finds a very suitable apprentice to carry out his mission and his goal in full secrecy and within the shadows of the sacred world, which is very crucial for the plan to actually bear fruit as well. Over the following years and centuries, the Growler King remained in full shadows of the sacred great nations, wars, and civilization, since they were able to highly adaptively evolve within the modern period of the stages, until he appeared as a different individual who began exactly slaughtering many individuals throughout the many convoys of the great elderly elders of the great sacred nations, where he began slaughtering the convoy, and as soon as he detected one of his own descendants, he decided to disappear and disperse himself away in far closer pursuit as well. During the following stages of the near end of the century, the Growler King appeared with a full different mask. He was wearing a full different yellowish mask, as a full different he was quietly wearing a full different mask which literally concealed his face, where he was able to actually appear through the ancient shrines of the Growler clan, where he was able to appear to study the ancient techniques and the forbidden powers that he can easily unlock for himself, so that he can become powerful and also the greatly highly invisible, and also the greatly highly to be and also the great to become highly undetectable as well, in the very same way, so that he can master those techniques and those powers and those secrets for himself, so he can become too powerful and as well also too greatly as well. On the particular day, on the actual particular day, on the 10th of February, the members of the shadowy sinister ancient criminal elite organization began to convene on an ancient dark cave in the actual shadowy projections of themselves, where they were able to concealing their identities, but the bodies of the shadowy projections remain the exact same way, which is known as astral projection, where they'll be able to exactly remain in the exact same position, but the eyes and everything else remain the same way. The shadowy astral projections were actually themselves as well. Regardless of that, the members of the organization began heavily to reconvene on the exact same day, where they were able to exactly speaking about their plans and highly beginning a plan in order to facilitating their plans and their goals in the actual process. Despite that, the Growler King was quietly present within the meeting, where the members of the organization began began seductively be carrying out their plans and their own mission as well. Despite that, the leader of the organization was able to tell the members of the death of the original Lord of Magic, which created a power vacuum within the entire Shadow Empire, which resulted in every Shadow Empire warlord and commander to finally fighting amongst themselves, while the others continuing supplying the dangerous and most powerful competitors of their own, such as the members of the Order of the Five and the members of the Founders and the members of the Court of Nature and the other sinister members of different powerful ancient secret society groups of supervillains and organizations as well in the process. Regardless of that, the Growler King quietly remained silent during the meeting as the leader began to explaining to the members that they must still proceed on with a plan and with the way to furthering their plans and their goals in the process as well. On the 17th of March, on the actual 17th of March, the members of the shadowy elite criminal organization began to reconvene again on a different dark cave. This time, the different dark cave had many different powerful statues of monsters, creatures, and beings that were not exactly quietly they were not exactly particularly quietly unmentioned. They were not exactly unmentioned throughout sacred history or in Formation Hunter history, which these monsters were the worst of the worst and literally the deadliest. Some were legendary creatures and some were very powerful monsters, which the monster statues actually resemblance. They actually began to resemble their true appearance and their true nature of themselves as well. Despite that, the members of the organization began to reassemble in the same position of their shadowy astral projection of themselves, where they all exactly began to discuss that it's time for them to carry out their given assignment and their given missions once and for all. And the Growler King remained heavily silent during the meeting as well, as he always did. On the 27th of April, the Growler King was quietly present during the actual sealing of the Dark Fairy's powers being sealed within the monster statue in a shadowy astral projection form, where all the other members began focusing their powers and their abilities in sealing the monster statue, in sealing the Dark Fairy's powers inside the monster statue. Due to that, they were able to gain the attention of the sinister group of the warlords and of the wizards and of the Formation Hunter, who are the allies of the universal heroes, and some of the allies of the universal founders were also able to literally decided to help out in finding the Dark Fairy, who has become a deadly fugitive to the entire races, to the rest of the entire races, and to the rest of the entire sacred great nation as well, who has been heavily been wanted for her crimes, and she was willing to actually turn herself over and in as well. Despite that, the leader in the astral projection decided it's best that they have to take drastic measures to make sure that the ceiling highly continues to go on in order to finding ways to distract the enemy. The other member, who's been highly good in sensory perception and also highly good in sensory perception, decided it's best that he will remain as the great hideout leader in order to spy on how many enemies are coming. The Growler King decided it's best to keep quiet while the other members selectively selected the other members to take highly different positions in taking down the enemy combatant before they can fully arrive within the hideout. Regardless of that, the leader of the organization decided to use a forbidden dark technique in order to make sure that the duplicates will act well due to the real members' true powers in the abilities that are quietly actually to be given to. And the other members quietly decided to select one of the most dangerous and notorious members to highly take their positions within the organization in order to fight the enemy, while the ceiling highly continues its rightful place. While the sealing was quietly done, the body was quietly fully drained of all of its powers and all of its abilities, and the creature was quietly dead and literally quietly composedly dead during the sealing process, which resulted in her losing her powers and her abilities in a process due to the statue able to gaining more visual perception, greater visual perception of his greater eyes glowing up and rising up, and of the great creature power, and of the great creature and of the great dark fairy was able to lose her powers and her abilities due to her dying to the ceiling itself as well. The leader of the organization began telling the members that it's time for them to depart. They only entrusted two members who are able to bring, who are able to complete, who are able to completely bring, who are able to completely bring the creature due to the location, that they must fight the enemy, and that they hope to hear great news about the battle and the outcome of the battle, since they're going to be able to be fighting with the enemy combatant. The Gala King and the other members decided it's best to disperse and leave the matters to the other members to take care of the threat that was quietly, highly interfering on the mission as well. On the great 17, on the great 17th of May, the Growler King was able to present his shadowy astral projection during the meeting with the other members of the organization on a different cave. This cave and this hideout didn't have any other statues or anything else rather than that. Either way, the leader of the organization was able to tell the members that they've quietly lost two members on that very particular day, but the other member of the group was quietly heavily able to survive during the battle against their former enemies in the past few months. But despite that, he was able to tell the other members that they must not lose sight of what they have to do at any given cost as well. And the Growler King began to agree as well on that particular day. On the 25 of June, the members of the organization began heavily to reconvene again on a different dark cave. This one had no statues of monsters or creatures or anything else, as they were all in the shadowy holographic form. Due to that, they were able to exactly receive word that they have actually indeed have found new members to joining the organization, and that they're willing to exactly participate with their goals and with their former mission as well. And the Growler King was very statistically happy that the replacements have been founded and that nothing has been able to disturb their plans or their goals in the process as well. On the particularly on the actual particularly day on the 10th of July, on the actual 10th of July, the Growler King was able to actually begin his full assignment, where he was able to return back to his own interdimensional crystal dimension, where he was able to find nothing but rubble and collapse, nothing but rubble, nothing but a completely rubble of the collapse of his cities and of his homeworld being destroyed many centuries ago, many centuries ago, due to the Shadow Empire ancestors becoming highly sharing an appetite of destruction and willing to lay waste to many worlds and planets in the process. Regardless of that, the Growler King decided it's best that he does what he can in order to acquire new abilities and new powers, in order for him to unlocking new secret powers and new abilities of his people's kind and of his his great descendant as well in the process. On the 25th of August, the members of the organization reconvene again, this time on a different dark cave, where the monster statue was quietly present and where they were all exactly quietly standing on it, on their shadowy astral projections of themselves, where the leader was able to tell the members that despite the interference of the Universal Heroes allies and of their plans being thwarted one way or the other, they were literally able to focus their results in capturing the other remaining powerful creatures that possess the greater powers that they were all officially literally willing to get and willing to obtain as well in the process. And the Growler King agreed that they know exactly how to actually do that, which won't exactly result in them attracting unwanted attention to their goals and to their closest to any of the activities, as well as the other members agreed that it's best that they do this in a very systematic way that won't result in the organization being drawing unwanted attention to itself as well. On the actual 19th of September, the Growler King in the yellow mask individual was able to re-meet with his closest friend within the organization, telling him that it's been so long since the both of them have quietly met, after many centuries, since they all exactly met for so many centuries, and due to that, the partnership still exactly holds meaning as well. As a friend, also agreed that he was able to also keep tabs of him being in part of the organization, since he was able to keeping his personality all intact and all quietly secretive to himself as well, and due to his yellow mask within the shadowy holographic within the shadowy astral projection was able to protect within the group's meeting, that the member was able to recognize him as well. But due to this, he was very grateful that he still remained within the group for many centuries, and also highly loyal to the organization's goals and to its true mission as well, and to its true dedication. The yellow mask individual known as the Growler King told the mighty member, told his long closest comrade, that he's very grateful that he's been within the organization itself, and that it's time for him to involve him on what has been going on for the past few decades as well. On the 19th of October, the masked Growler King was able to secretly meet up with the other secretive collaborators on the different hideouts where they were all able to exactly reassemble, this time face to face, and they were able to actually meet up with the other prominent terrorist group organizations face to face. The leader of the other terrorist group of the organization decided it's best to sit on the chairs of the group's hideout, able to telling the collaborators that the planning of the organization is very quietly simple and very quietly, highly statistically simple, is for them to focus their sole activity in taking out the leaders and the council members of the sacred great nations once and for all, since they are the ones responsible for the wars and for the calamity that they brought amongst the entire sacred world, and throughout the entire sacred world and throughout the rest of the entire sacred society, since they are the problem, and since they are the only diseasable, since they are the only actual disease that actually created the problem and all the problematic wars, they must be officially be wiped out. The Iron Mask Men fully agreed with the leader of the organization and thought that it's best that they must take a different prominent way in order not to take care of the threat, while the other individual agreed that this collaboration of action will draw the young heroes to protecting the great young elders, and the four-nation hunter of the intergalactic coalition will definitely intervene and take highly good steps to protecting the great elders, while the other masked men agreed that it's best if they take a different approach at this matter, while the other leader of the criminal organization asked which is the highly different approach, hunting down great powers and greater abilities which could help them grab control of the power vacuum that has consumed the Shadow Empire from within itself, meaning by seizing great forbidden powers which could help them quell wars and also dwindle wars in a matter of minutes in a faster way, which was able to actually explain to the leader of the organization itself, to the other leader of the other criminal organization itself, that the great former founding leader of the great sacred nation known as the Circle Clan was able to, using these founding powers, to maintaining the power balance that quietly infected and infused the entire sacred warring states periods when the great nations were about to be reformed before they were actually the great clans. Either way, he was quietly intrigued about this proposal, and that he told them that it could be a very much quietly of a fair win, as the Growler King himself in his yellow mask began to agree with the other masked men that it could actually be a fair win to the prominent, distinctive, long-term plans and their goals as well, which will speed up the process in a more faster way. And they all agreed that they will actually benefit from this. The leader of the other organization began to ask the collaborators have they managed to find a way to gain control of the prophesized child's powers known as Grayson Ferris Unity, who is, after all, the leader of the Universal Heroes, and he is the one who possesses the most powerful techniques and powers that the monster statue needs. The other masked collaborator told the leader of the organization that the members of the organization have already decided on a vote, and they've decided it's best that they split up their resources, while the others will continue hunting the other powerful, prominent individual who possess greater powers and greater abilities for the monster statue to obtain and also to acquire as well. Despite that, the other Iron Masked Men reassured the leader of the other criminal organization that their target is Grayson Ferris, and that they'll soon have him under their control, and one way or another he will be taken to them, and they'll be effectively going after him one way or another, and the monster statue will obtain and acquire a piece of his powers regardless of the outcome. And the leader of the criminal organization seemed heavily as he relished in full sadistic laughter as well. On that very particular day, the masked individuals all exactly met up within the bridge, discussing about how far has the mighty original Lord of Magic has quietly gone down and how far he has quietly died due to him. They were able to gain greater experiences due to him as well. And the Growler King also expressed his gratitude that he died quietly so soon before they were able to exactly telling him about their plans and about their former goals. Either way, the Iron Mask Man told the other yellowish mask man who is the Gala King that their plans are quietly able to bear fruit and that nothing can easily interfere to their plans and to their goals as well in the process. Now that the death of the original Lord of Magic has managed to pave a way for the future plans and also for their future plans and of their long-term plans as well in the process, meaning that everything is going according to plan and that they managed to win over the most powerful sadistic leader of the other criminal organization at their side, which was quietly worth it and worth all the risk. Despite that, now their plans can now begin to solidify and they can also begin taking higher grade places now. And the yellowish masked man, who is the Growler King, began to agree with the Iron Masked Man that it is after all worth it and that they've come so far since then and that they've never faced in any troubling obstacles such as the mighty universal heroes, as all the other criminal organizations of all the other sinister powerful villains have been able to essentially stating that they can't underestimate them and they've quietly faced the worst reckoning by underestimating them. The other masked men began to agree that they made a big mistake in doing that and they will not repeat the same mistakes as they did as well. On the particularly 17th of November, the yellowish masked man known as the Growler King was quietly present during the sealing of the water fairy, where they were able to sealing her powers inside the monster statue, as all the other members were quietly present during the shadowy astral projection and stated that the monster statue's powers are heavily growing and they're also highly adaptable, but the sealing is quietly taking longer due to the other new members who are also quietly forced to finding highly powerful greater individual who possess greater powers and greater powers and greater supernatural abilities, that the sealing itself is quietly taking a very long process. Either way, the yellow masked man known as the Growler King remained completely silent during the process and decided it's best to allow the process to taking its time while the work began taking its rightful place as well. On the 19th of December, the yellowish masked man was able to meet up with the Dark King, who is also a super villain and an ancient anti-hero, also the founder and the leader of an ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Founders, and also it's quietly also an organization as well as itself as well. Despite that, he was able to meet up with the Dark King on the landscape of the mountains, where the Dark King was quietly still exactly watching the landscape of the mountains, which the yellow masked man told the mighty Dark King that he loves watching the view of the land, which is quite a very beautiful view indeed after all, which he also loves doing as well, which is also what he quietly did before, which is also what he quietly did on his previous lifetime as well. As the Dark King agreed, that is exactly what we powerful creatures always do, exactly admire the beauty and raw power of Mother Nature's true beauty and grace as well. Despite that, the Dark King able to ask the mighty Growler King in his masked individual form that are all the preparations set to go. The Growler King exactly answered the Dark King that the preparations are quietly set to go and they are all precisely ready, and that everything else is ready to proceed the way it's meant to be. Good, because the Dark King exactly told the Growler King that he cannot make that his associate and that the members of his organization must not make the same mistakes as they did in taking these heroes lightly. And it would be wise not to repeat the mistakes they did as well. And the Growler King completely learned to say that he won't. After that, he disappeared, and then he disappeared and was never quietly seen again. On the 10th of January, the masked individual was able to meet up with the leader of the organization within the tower, within the great tower, within the great tower of the great nation that he's still ruling and also precisely controlling as well, with an iron fist, as he's rumored to be the godlike embodiment of the entire nation itself, which was known as the Fall Nation, which is quietly a powerful, isolated nation from the great nation itself that's within the warring staging period itself as well. The leader of the organization was quietly sitting on the seat while the powerful dark crystal was quietly lighting up on the three chairs with the other member and with the other member as well, as the Garlic King was able to explain to the leader of the organization that the secret collaborator has finally agreed that the preparations and the planning are fully beginning to bear place. And the leader of the organization began telling that how far has the newest partners and the newest partners of the organization, of the other organization, are doing well, since they are also quietly working on the behalf of the partnership. The masked individual began telling the leader that they share a common interest and a common goal to do in order for them to destroy the same great nation that brought them nothing but destruction and pain of the past few years, and that they want to restore the justice and the sacred law back to its original force and back to its original harmony and back to its original glory as well, which is precisely what they all agreed on. And they precisely actually agreed on that it's time for them to furthering the next phase of their plan once and for all. On the 15th of February, the masked individual was able to enter the dark crystal canyon world, where he was able to meet up with the dark druids and the dark witches, and telling them that they must secretly begin the full orchestration once and for all, while he precisely begins with these secret experiments. And the dark magic users agree, then that is exactly what they'll do as well. On the 10th of March, the Growler King was quietly inside of his laboratory as he took off his mask, and a powerful parasitic creature of an entity emerged from the ground, telling him that things are quietly escalating from the other side of the battle, and that he must actually take drastic measures to protecting their future investment before it's quietly highly destroyed within the battle itself. The Growler King quietly agreed that it's time for him to reclaim the sword, the crystal sword, and also to reclaiming his true power and his true identity before things become highly messy. And it's very quietly inevitable that he reclaims his full power and his true regenerative powers in the process, which is very inevitable and also very crucial, and does its best to helping the secretive collaborator as well in the process as well. On that very day, he quietly teleported straightly to the battle site where the Universal Founders were fighting with the other sinister criminal organization who would become the allies of the masked individuals organization. Despite that, the leader of the organization wanted to continue the fight, while the yellow masked man told them that they cannot exactly waste their time and energy right now, because right now they have to recharge and recuperate, and they may have to make sure that their full preparation and their battle is quietly ready to go on forth, and that he will have the day and time to crush and destroy the leader of the Universal Founders. As the leader of the criminal organization began to agree with that, the white creature wanted to take interest by killing the leader of the Universal Founders himself, but the Growler King insisted that he's not exactly worthy enough to fight the heroes yet, and besides, they have to make sure that the operative on the other side is quietly ready to proceed on with the next step of the plan, with the insistence of the Growler King. As the creature began to agree as well. Despite that, he began teleporting them all away, and they began removing from the headquarters themselves away. On the particular day, on the 15th of April, the members of the organization began to reassemble on a dark, misty cave in the shadowy holographic form, where they all began to agree that it's time for their plans to begin bearing fruit. And the yellowish masked man known as the Growler King was quietly present during the meeting, as he remained silent as the leader began to explain that the organization's goals are hereby ready to bear fruit as well. On the 15th of May, on the actual 15th of May, the yellow masked man known as the Growler King, was able to meet up with his long ancient Growler Queen, who is known to be his long beautiful wife, in the secret hideouts of the organization, telling her that they are so close to achieving their goals and their mission, and they are fully ready to move forward with the next step of the plan. And she was able to tell him that she was able to find the remaining descendants of the entire Growler clan of the Four Nation Hunters, and they're still actively alive as well. And the yellow masked man seemed very relieved that their people are still highly existing, and that they're very much quietly still alive as well. He told the queen that she still must remain her secret existence, and she must still remain in the shadows of the sacred world until it's time for them to begin exposing themselves to the rest of sacred society, as she agreed as well. On the 17th of June, on the actual 17th of June, the mighty Growler King in the yellow mask was able to exactly reveal his identity to the mighty and most powerful, dedicated super villain to his own organization, known as the great Wild Master, who defected from the Wild Archers, which is another powerful, sinister terrorist organization that works on a behalf on another ancient secret society of an organization known as the Order of Power, that's quietly founded and led by Lord Jet, who is the new Lord of Magic. Despite that, the mighty Growler King congratulated the Wild Master on his defection on the Wild Archers, telling him that he can either join forces with them, or he can either freelance as much as he wants, or he can either become their personal sleeper agent and provide them greater information on what the Universal Heroes are planning, or on what the defectors are planning to do with the ones that with the great superhuman supervillain vigilantes, the ones that are able to exactly capture an upper hand, to joining forces with them with a group, or he can either provide them substantial information, which in return they'll give him a hideout and a secret lair for him to work by himself. Wild Master agreed that the proposition was quietly good and enticing, and he decided it's best to join forces with this organization, since he realizes that there might be something interesting. Unbeknownst to the mighty Growler King in the Yellow Mask, that Wild Master was quietly serving as a double agent for the Universal Heroes in order to infiltrate this organization, to know about its plans and its true purpose of its goals as well in the process. On the 20th of July, the yellowish masked man was able to reconvene with the iron masked man, and with the red masked man, and with the purple masked man in the different hideout of the organization, and they were all quietly seating as they stated that the preparation of their goal are set and they're ready to proceed on with the next step of the plan. And the great iron masked man told his friends that they've come way too far to allow any interference, and that it must never happen again, as all precisely agreed on that. On the actual 10th of August, the yellowish masked man known as the Growler King was able to precisely meet up with the four dark evil fairies, telling them that they have come so far with their plans and preparations, and that they must actually begin to bear fruit, and that the planning itself must begin to solidify one way or another. And they all agreed that it will be very crucial for it to successfully bear fruit as well, which is very crucial for the plan to also bear fruit, as they agreed that it's time to begin the full preparations of the goal, all of their goals, and of their common goals and plans as well in the actual process, as the four dark fairies began to blend that as well. Despite this, guys, the Growler King is a very powerful, ancient, notorious king who is very sinister and very, very ancient. Due to him living for many centuries and for many years, he is very powerful and very deadly. He's a very sinister, powerful, rogue, shadowy criminal who is quietly unknown to the Four Nation Hunter database and to the great Sacred Nation Hunter database. He is not exactly the most wanted sacred criminal within the entire Four Nation Hunter database of all the other wanted sacred supernatural criminals across the entire Sacred Great Nation wanted post list. But despite that, he is very, very deadly and very, 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 very highly observant. Due to his past experience in living throughout the ancient centuries, he has managed to manipulate powerful greater individuals throughout sacred history's past civil wars and conflicts for the many centuries. And due to this, he was able to gain the respect and fame of the original Lord of Magic. Due to this, he wasn't able to actually frequently see him face to face or actually speak to him face to face. But despite that, his reputation was able to gain the respect of the original Lord of Magic, which he secretly began respecting him himself. He felt very quietly bad due to the great death and the demise of the original Lord of Magic, as all the other members of the organization did, because they all actually respected him and viewed him as a true great legendary hero, and they all truly gratefully believed in his goals. Despite that their goals and their source activities are highly different from their goals, they still highly actually respected the original Lord of Magic. Due to this, the Growler King became highly dedicated to this ancient criminal organization, which he quietly believed in its goals and its true mission. And he also quietly believed that his descendants are also quietly highly alive, also quietly still also remain highly alive and actively alive during the following centuries after their great home world and cities and a great interdimensional crystal world became highly destroyed in the process. Due to this, he has gained faster immortality powers and greater long gravity powers, such as teleportation, opening portals, the power of manipulation, the power of mind control, the power of the great perception, sensory detection, the power of fully infusing himself with greater abilities and powers, and the power of great disappearing and reappearing at will, and also the power of detection and sensory perception, hand-to-hand combat, swordsmanship, and also swordsmanship, marksmanship, and also with the power, and also with the great power of levitation, and also with the great power of levitation as well, and also with the great supernatural abilities as super strength, super speed, great super strength and super speed, manipulating magic, energy, matter, fire power, greater fire elemental fire powers as wood, lightning, and electricity, and as well water, and earth as well. He's very highly observant, very highly keen, skilled in supernatural detection, and very good in uncovering different magical powers and detectional abilities as well in the process. Very skillful with the power of fire elemental, with the great power of fire elemental, with the great elemental fire power of fire elemental, and the great power of the dark gods of dark magic and of crystal energy as well. Very good in wielding swords, weapons, crystal weapons, and also manipulating dark magic and the power of the dark gods as well at will. Very highly charismatic and also very quietly funny. Due to his true personality, he was able to bring the shadowy organization a bit of sense of humor when the other members literally convened, and the other members quietly reviewed his personality as a quietly of an annoyance, while the others found his personality quietly good and very quietly highly respectful, due to him bringing warmth and great comfort to the organization's full meetings, and to them reassembling and meeting as well. Very good with the power of creating a shadowy astral projection of himself, with the power of sealing creatures, summoning resurrection, and with the great power of teleportation and interdimensional traveling. He's very highly resourceful and also very highly good with the power of convergence, synchronizing, manipulating shadow energy, and using the power of all creation's techniques, and the power of manipulating water, and with the power of manipulating shadow and light style powers and abilities as well. He has different highly destructive and highly compatible abilities and secret techniques he's been able to master for many centuries, due to him hiding in the shadows of sacred society and manipulating powerful, prominent individuals as well. He's a very great super strategist and a super tactician, forming powerful alliances with one of the most deadliest super shadowy criminals, and utilizing their resources and their goals for his personal ultimate goals as well. His sole purpose and goal is to make sure that his descendants and the rest of his people still remain the dominant ruling Four-Nation Hunter family that is still able to exist within sacred society. He's very highly observant, extremely ruthless, and also not heartless, but also highly compassionate. He loves the members of the organization, and he does share great tremendous respect over the leader who leads it as well. And he also shown the great power of compassion and great traumatic loyalty to his longest and most powerful friend within the organization, which was able to tell that he is sorry for taking so long to revealing himself to him and to the other members. But despite that, he quietly told him that he quietly views him as the closest member and the closest colleague to him, due to him sharing a common personal relationship as well. He's very highly resourceful, possesses a very powerful dark influential desire as well, and a very dark ambition and a goal to making sure that his descendants and the organization itself remain the sole supreme rulers as well. He's very good and very dedicated to the organization's goals. He even has a powerful dark philosophy of his own that he's managed to pass on to the other members of the organization. He also shares a very formidable dark alliances with the dark warlocks, dark witches, dark druids, dark fairies, and dark wizards, and the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders and evil warlords as well, as he's able to utilize their resources and their goals for his personal goal and for his personal mission as well. Despite that, he believes in their goals and he believes in their true mission as well, and he's very, very willing to make sure that their goals and their true mission as well successfully bear fruit as well. He's very good and very, very highly enhanced with greater, highly enhanced abilities. His body also shows to have many body modifications as well, as was able to combine and merge the body, and was able to combine and merge the matter, the great matter, the great powerful matter of the creature's DNA inside of his body in order to increase his body's powers, and its ability as well. Very good with crystal magic and very good with the power of interdimensional teleportation as well, and very highly resourceful. Respects the members of the organization. Also very good in particular in maintaining his individual bases of operation, such as his central headquarters, which is an ancient dark cave in a powerful, sinister, shadowy village that's quietly beneath the entire great nations, and some of his hideouts are quietly scattered within the entire sacred world, not within humanity, only within the sacred great nations worlds, where he can only provide security and necessary protection to his allies and to the rest of the members, or to the rest of the members of the organization, and to the respective allies of the organization. Due to this, the Growler King was able to persuade the other criminal organizations to join forces with the shadowy criminal organization itself, to aiding it with its respective goals and with its respective mission. Due to this, he also shares a personal, closer relationship with the other secretive shadowy collaborators, such as the Iron Masked Man, as the Red Masked Man, the Orange Masked Man, and the Purple Masked Man, which they all share a common interest and a common goal, where they all partner up together as colleagues and as friends as well. They do have an ultimate goal, which they believe is very crucial to their plans, and they all have forbidden techniques and abilities and dangerous, unknown forbidden techniques and powers and abilities that were literally unknown to 4-nation hunters. Some of them are 4-nation hunters, others of them are 5-nation hunters, some are vampire creatures, others are powerful hybrid creatures or hybrid creatures as well. But due to this, he's very powerful, and due to his long gravity and to his immortality, he believes that his people are destined to rule the entire sacred world and the rest of sacred society and the rest of the known magical worlds that he has managed to conquer before the destruction of his home respective worlds and sister planets by the Shadow Empire's true destructiveness of it wanting to conquer many worlds and known planets in the process as well. Very resourceful, very powerful, systematically ruthless, keen-minded, highly observant, 12-level intellect, highly smart, sharp, very noble, and very sadistic, and very powerful, and also very serious with his true mission and with his goals as well. By wearing the actual yellow mask details his personality, that he's very serious with his mission and with his obligation, and that the rest of the members have learned the hard way not to repeat their failings and not to ever again underestimate the members of the Universal Heroes in doing their abilities in the operation and the long-term plans in any other way. They know that there's a different way and many other ways to actually finding the solution to spinning up the process of their plans, and they are very dangerous members, highly smart and very particularly powerful. The leader of the organization itself is a very powerful individual, rumored to be a godlike being himself as well to the other members, and they all respect him, especially the Growler King, who wears a yellow mask, which he's able to respect as well, and they all precisely respect each other as well. Due to their dedication and to their goals, each member joined this shadowy organization for their own personal sinister goals, and for their own personal sinister goals, others for their own personal sinister reasons. The others joined to furthering the organization's true long-term plans and goals in the process by utilizing its resources, influence, connections, great connections and power, and great understanding to the entire sacred criminal society world as well. He's very powerful, charismatic, loves the Growler Queen with all her life, and loves the remaining descendants of his people as well, which you always exactly do. Due to this, he respects them and was able to keep tabs on them throughout the following centuries of sacred history as well, and was also able to be able to be notified that some of his descendants had become members of the Universal Heroes, while others had become the worst of the worst villains and of the worst, powerful, deadliest criminals throughout the entire sacred Phoenician hunter history and throughout the rest of the sacred great nation's history as well. Due to this, he was able to keep his distance from them in order to make sure that his death was actually a real death as well, that he can never be discovered or be able to unknown. And due to this, was able to also to find the long legendary founder and leader known as Sun Tzu, who is the founder and leader of the Ryan clan, on an ancient hideout, which was able to utilizing his expertise in discovering powers and abilities of his own, due to Sun Tzu being an elderly man who is also trying to facilitate his ancient imagination and his goal, which he also promises to keeping his hideout and his location secretive as well. He's very seductive, very submissive, powerful criminal, and very deadly of all other, and very deadly. He's the ancestral ancestor of the Growler, Phoenician Hunter, of the Growler Phoenician Hunter clan that's been able to exist within the Phoenician Hunter Sea for centuries and for many, many years to come. Very, very sadistic and very noble. Over the centuries, during him wearing many different masks, he's become very, very cruel and very serious to his mission and to organization's goals. And he has learned the hard way that the Universal Heroes' abilities in thwarting the operation and their plan must never be taken seriously. And the other members have all agreed to him that they can never ever repeat their failings, which is what they always do. They don't repeat their failings again. Instead, they learn from them. And due to them having secretive, powerful shadowy alliances with other secretive, powerful shadowy collaborators that were able to understand from their own perspectivity that they can never repeat their failings, and which is exactly what they don't do as well. Very powerful, ancient, noble, good, works behind the scenes of the entire sacred great nations, secretly manipulating, benefiting wars and creating chaos upon its wake, which he does in the shadows as well. Like I said before, he's been manipulating powerful, dangerous prominent, powerful individuals within sacred histories, wars, and conflicts for many centuries without the Phoenician hunters even knowing that the primordial ancestor of the Growler clan still exists. So he's very good in maintaining his true disguise and his true existence to himself as well, and as well to the rest of the Universal Heroes as well. Despite that, that's it for today's episode, guys. I'll see you tomorrow on Friday on a different time, where I'll be able to upload the last episode tomorrow after I'm done writing and walking my dog universe and doing the house chores. And in a way, I'll actually take care of this download today and now. And yeah, I'll actually take care of the download today and now, guys, for you, which you'll actually receive for you guys. Let me just make sure that it's not exactly too late not to actually upload it now. So regardless of that, guys, have a blessed day and have a great day. Sorry for the noise and all of that as well, which I actually particularly want you guys, which there'll be noise which will be actually to be receiving from the other side. But despite that, guys, tomorrow will be quietly be better. We won't actually be receiving more noise and more interference. We'll actually be able to do our work, I'll be able to do my episodes quietly well. But regardless of that, guys, I'm very grateful for your guys' support. Have a blessed day and have a great day. Today's episode was the Growler King, who is a member of a shadowy organization, which I haven't exactly precisely given its name, but in time I'll actually tell you its name. So regardless of that, that's it for today's episode. I'll see you tomorrow. Grateful for your guys' support. Like and subscribe in YouTube and in TikTok. And for those of you who are following me, have a blessed day. Truly grateful for your guys' support. Love you, and also enjoy your day and enjoy yourself, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow on Friday. Bye.